Good evening, televiewers. You are welcome to Prime R Tuesday edition, traditionally dedicated to discuss issues relating to relationship and marriage. And this evening, we are looking at what we can do as husbands and wives to ensure that we have healthy relationships or marriages. Are there some jobs that a woman should engage in to also help her fulfill her marital responsibilities, as well as the man? That is going to be the focus for tonight's edition of Prime R, with our panelists who are in the house already. Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa is in the house with us. He is a permanent consultant. Good evening and welcome, Apostle.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Cameroonians. Good evening, my co-panelists, and welcome to today's edition of Prime Hour. Stay tuned and watch us deliver information.
We also are in the company of Apostle Alfred Essingie, who is an expert in what we discuss every Tuesday. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my fellow panelists. We are grateful to be here again today. From my analysis, I discovered that a lot of people are visiting counselors these days for marriage issues, and we are giving them for free. I think people should take this opportunity to always come on air to benefit from free counseling.
Okay, they should follow our programs on My Media Prime every Tuesday to benefit from free counseling from our team of experts in the domain. We also are in the company of Madame Henrietta Fontinglet. She's been away for a very long time. We're glad to have you once again on Prime R.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Thank you, televiewers. It's a privilege for me to be back on set after a very long time. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be around.
Okay, we also are going to be having the contributions from Bamenda of Mrs. Asanji Yvette, who is also an expert in the domain, regular panelist on Tuesday editions of Prime R. We're starting with you, Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa, looking at which careers favor healthy relationships for men and women. Are there some careers that should be considered when we talk about relationships, yes, for man and woman?
Mr. Leo, that's a very, very tricky one, but we just have to discuss as marriage counselors. To me, even though personally speaking, I probably might not lay a finger on a particular profession that will be good for those who want to get married, I want to believe that some particular individuals in question go to extremes with their profession.
Okay.
The thing is not the profession, the problem is the individual in question, because I think we all have that responsibility and we have the obligation to know how to manage our time and also know how to manage our families. No matter how occupied you are, you definitely have to understand that you have a family back at home to attend to. Somebody may say if a doctor gets married to a doctor, it may be difficult for them to stay back at home. If a career woman gets married to a career man, it may be difficult for them to stay back at home. To me, I strongly believe that's sheer carelessness. And if the individuals in question do not know how to manage their responsibilities, even if you give them a job that can give them the whole day to stay in the house, irresponsibility is irresponsibility, no matter the form of job that you do. To me, to some extent, a person like a pilot who is always flying
On the move.
on the move, yes, may have difficulties actually training the family, but also he should also get married to a kind of woman that is resident, not a woman that moves along. So it depends on what you are doing. You have to get married to somebody also who is not outgoing like you. That's the reason why in those days most of our mothers were designed to stay back at home and take care of children, while the parents, the fathers of the poor, went out fending for the family. So I want to believe that it has to do with the individuals in question, not just the profession, about the profession, and also how you manage your time. How you manage your time also. I used to say that somebody who is outgoing, when you are given the chance, for instance, during leave, you should take that time to exploit the time with your family and make sure you stay around with your children, because there are some jobs that are very demanding, but that doesn't mean that you should neglect your family because you are doing something that's very demanding. So to me, the profession does not really matter, but the individuals in question that matters.
Yes. Now, when we talk about engaging in relationship, or yes, that may lead to marriage, should we start considering some specific professions, because we think they will permit either our husbands or wives to work in favor of the success of our marriages?
Mr. Leo, statistically speaking, there are a lot of professions that are contrary, or they work against relationships and marriage, especially people who want to build family life. There are a lot of professions, a lot of occupations that go against family life in one way or the other. Take, for example, the man that goes to the sea to stay there for 2 months and whatever, and the man that goes to the military to stay there for 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years before coming back to a family. Those are not professions that really favor family life or family development or family structures, because it takes the man away or takes the woman away. We also have these issues. It's just like we're talking about those who go abroad and they are there for 2, 3 years, 4 years, leaving their family behind and hoping that someday they're going to come back to meet them. The people you left 3 months ago cannot be the same people you will meet after 2 months. That's the truth.
Son of God.
Because behaviors, attitudes are formed within 21 days. If you practice a particular behavior, psychologically speaking, within 21 days you can culture new behaviors and new styles. So people who knew you 3 months ago cannot come back to know you again and want to start. That's why people usually have problems, like friends. They usually have problems when they left somebody after 5 months, 1 year, and they come back, they want to start, they want to continue from where they left. No, you have to go back and start studying that person again to know whether something has happened or the people have changed. That's obviously, that's what's the case. We are sure that there are professions like that. Take, for example, like the nursing profession that will make a woman to stay out of the house or maybe stay maybe at the hospital. And sometimes some women, in the pretext of going for, for work in the evening, they go to other places and come back at their own time. You can never predict or you can never tell what that kind of a thing is all about. People who have children, like I usually say, like everybody would testify that when you want to marry, especially as a woman, your profession has to be tuned or tailored towards the kind of person you want to marry. You're not going to be, you're not just going to assume that I will just do any kind of profession, because at the end of the day, you will find yourself wanting. Now look at the banking sector. Look at the banking sector where you go to work in the morning, but you cannot tell when you're going to close. You go to work in the morning, you can't tell when you're going to close. And at the end of the day, you come back, your children are seeing you like a stranger, or they want to discover you. Sometimes you come when the children are already sleeping, and you get up sometimes in the morning and go when the children are still sleeping. And you come back, you say those things, those kind of professional lives are not healthy for family growth or family development. And it's hurting a lot of people out there, because the more technology is evolving, the more people are getting new jobs, the more the women are getting into careers, the more a lot of things are happening at the expense of the family. The truth is that the family is hurt today seriously all over the world because of professions that are not favorable for family development. Now, in such cases, we are trying to look at a situation where one person goes and leaves the other to take care of the home. But now, who will want to leave, who will want to stay back home? That's where our problem is coming from. So, Mr. Law, I'm telling you that there's a lot to look into it. As we continue discussing, we are going to see how seriously these particular professions have hurt marriages. And sometimes people only come after their retirement to discover that the person they had in the house was a stranger, because they never had time to know themselves all through their lives. That is why you see a man of 25 years in marriage is divorcing. And you ask yourself, why are they divorcing? They say, no, I don't manage all the year. And now I don't decide, I know I may go again. And they end at that level. So it becomes a very serious problem. They will tell me, if you put the women here, they will tell you. If you put the men here, they will tell you that some professions are not healthy. Okay, look at the teaching profession and this. It's very conducive for family life. You go in the morning and closing by 3 o'clock or 3:30. And you come back and you're taking care of your children and so on and so forth. Then holidays also are going to be there for you as a family person to be able to take time and take care of your children. But there are professions that don't have holidays. Highest, you have a leave. leave, and in that leave is too short, maybe a 1 month leave, and that 1 month leave is not talking about 30 days, it's talking about something like 25 days or 28 days and so on and so forth. At that time, what do you think? Families are being deprived, children are being deprived. Now we leave our children at the mercy of teachers, we leave our children at the mercy of nannies, we leave our children at the mercy of house helps, and at the end of the day, whatever those children become, we don't care. All we want to know is that they are our children.
Okay. Madam Fortingle, difficult one here today. Yeah. Yeah, a woman.
Yeah, it's.
And you're working.
And I'm working.
And did you factor this in when you?
I did.
Okay.
Actually, I did. I'm working and in one of the very demanding sector, like Apostle was talking about the banking, and that's actually the sector in which I find myself. I'm actually working, my husband is working. It's very complex, a very complex topic, and we have to really be careful the way we look at it. But nonetheless, marriage in itself, like we all know, the very essence of marriage is to fulfill purpose. It's not just about love, falling in love, that I love this person, I must get married to this person without us knowing where this marriage is leading you to and where this marriage is going to end. It's about fulfilling purpose. That is the reason why we always advise when people during premarital counseling that you get to understand the person with whom you want to get married. You share your views, you share your visions, you understand who you are getting married to, what are their life goals, what they want to become in life. Personally, I really don't see so much of a problem with people getting married in the same sector, because it's about the mindset. First of all, marriage and maturity in marriage is about the mindset. A bad person is a bad person. A disobedient woman is a disobedient woman. Whether she's a working woman or she's no working woman, a non-submissive woman is a non-submissive woman. An arrogant man remains an arrogant man. So if in the context of marriage, they both have come together and they have this understanding that, okay, we are in the same sector. Because it could as well happen that after marriage, they discover that they go towards the same direction and they are aligned to do the same job or the same kind of, they're in the same career. They will not break up because of that. But then these things need to be discussed well ahead of time. During counseling or during courtship, they have to discuss and ask to know what are your life goals, what you want to become in future, what I want to become in future, to see how comfortable it is. Now, because marriage is far beyond a relationship of dating, boyfriend-girlfriend issue. It's far beyond courting. It's a home you're building to fulfill purpose. And we understand that when marriage is involved, children now are involved. There is a family that is involved. So you would not want to penalize children simply because there is love that brought you people together. And even just to highlight that it is not love alone you look at when you want to get married. You must actually look at where you are heading to. Is this thing this man doing going to hinder our relationship tomorrow? Is it going to be a problem? If I am ready to take it, then you should be able to accept it. Or what this woman is about to do in career or as a career, can I actually accept and stay with this? If it doesn't work, then you should be able to lay it down for the sake of the future you want to work for, or for the sake of your children you're planning to get. Now, it becomes very dangerous when two people get married. There are some careers, in as much as some careers really don't have a problem. When people get married, they can always organize themselves. Two bankers can get married and to effectively arrange their homes, and they can work that way. They might want to take leave their vacations during different periods in order to have time with the children. But there are others which are some careers that are extremely demanding, which it is not advisable that you get married. Both of you are in such careers. Nobody will be around to take care of the kids. Talk less of you guys ever having time to stay together to consummate that marriage. Imagine two pilots getting married. While you're flying to Ghana, I'm flying to the US. Next month, you're flying to Europe, I'm flying to China. When do we actually have time to sit and consummate that marriage? The reasons why, sometimes if you're getting married to somebody, you know his career is extremely demanding, then you guys have to rethink and reconsider that one person should be around, at least for the sake of the children. That when the other person goes out, comes back, there should be somebody around that can be able to receive the other.
Okay, want to be around to receive the order. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, is it very important to know what your husband or wife is preparing to become or what he is, to also know how to adjust yourself and prepare? Why not prepare yourself for them? For example, your prayer is to get married to a man of God like you, Apostle Ambe. Maybe you want to get married to me, Mr. Kum. I come to my office at 7, 8, 9, I'm in the office. I leave you only after 9 o'clock. Are these some of the things that a man or a woman should already start factoring in before even deciding to settle down with somebody?
One of the things we have to ascertain is that most people sometimes even get married without doing anything.
Okay. Yeah.
They get without having a job.
A job, yeah.
They don't have a job. And then tomorrow you're in the marriage. You find out that your partner has gotten a job that does not give he or she time to spend in the family. Will you divorce the person? I've told persons in this life, if you cannot adapt under any condition, you cannot survive anywhere on earth. We leave Africa and go to Europe. The climatic condition is not the same as Africa.
They will adapt.
We adapt to the situation there. The meals are not the same like here, but we adapt. What if you get married to somebody tomorrow who is still to get a job, and then only for the person to get a job tomorrow, and the job is time consuming? Meanwhile, you had your own job earlier and your own job is time consuming. What happens to you? Both of you. You have to devise a means on how to adapt to that situation. Because if you want to start selecting profession, you may end up getting married to a profession, not a person. We mostly get married to titles, not to individuals. And some of those titles are not husbands. Oh, he is a doctor of law in the university. You are getting married to that title, not to the person. That person who is a doctor of law in the university might not have the qualities of a husband.
That you are.
He has the qualities of a lecturer. He has the qualities of a lawyer, not the qualities of a husband. Isaac Newton's wife used to come and serve him food in the morning and come back late in the day, the food is still there. And then when she clears the food, Isaac Newton will say, hey, I thought I had eaten. Oh, I thought I had not eaten, I already eaten. That's a man who is a scientist, not a husband. And you marry such a person and you serve the person food consistently and the person does not eat, you may think you are not a good cook, or you may think he doesn't care about your food. And women take such things into serious consideration. A husband is somebody that gives attention, somebody that gives concern. So when we want to follow the profession of somebody, we may marry someone's profession that is not a husband. You can marry a man who is a teacher. He's in the house in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, yet he's not a husband. You can get married to a pilot, whom even when he's in the aircraft, he communicates with you. When he lands in America, he does video calls and communicates with you. He gets in touch with the children and communicates with the children. The problem is, are we getting married to the husband, or we are getting married to a profession?
Or to a title.
Are we getting married to a title? That's what the trouble is.
I want to be known as Mami Pastor.
Mami Pastor,
Yes.
Mami Pilot,
are you prepared?
Mami Engineer, Mami Lawyer,
Mami
Mami
Father.
this, Mami Father. So if you look at all these, people sometimes get married to these titles, meanwhile the persons are not husbands. Women were asked to get married to husbands, not to get married to titles. Now you see somebody say, he is coming from the famous Olushola family. You are married to the fame of a family, not a person. If you marry that person and does not have the quality of a husband, he will suffer. And this is the reason we are saying that out of profession, a husband is different from a title, a husband is different from a professional activity. If you think that you get married to a man who is always at home, makes him a husband, is a mistake. There are people that will be within the house 24 hours, they will not show you the love and concern of a husband. While somebody can be away 3 times a week and shows you the care of a husband. There are persons who are in Europe, they are more of husband than men who are in the house beating their wives every day. So when I'm talking about the personality, they're not profession. So you want to go and talk about profession, they are beasts who spend 18 hours in their house slapping you. And you are married to a pilot who sees you once in a week. And that one time he sees you, the joy he gives you covers 6 months' joy. And you're a man that spends 24 hours with you in the house and removes your teeth every day. Is he a husband or the job? Is he a profession? That's the problem. We are focusing on child upbringing. What about the persons in question? Because when we talk about professional stuff, it's only about child upbringing, children upbringing, children upbringing, children upbringing. Marriage is first and foremost for a man and a woman for children. Where do these people derive their joy? What is the comfort in the marriage? Because I think the disadvantage that they are trying to emphasize here is the fact that if the man is outgoing, the woman is outgoing, the children could be rebellious. We have seen children grown under the roof of parents who are always there 24 hours and they are rebels.
They are thieves.
They are thieves, criminals.
Yeah.
So who tells us that availability of parents is a sign that children must grow in integrity and honesty? It's not guaranteed. So one of the things we have to understand is that what we indoctrinate our children, whether in our absence or in the presence, matters a lot. Okay. Somebody can be away from the house, but instilling discipline. He set rules. Don't watch this kind of cartoons, this kind of programs. The content the children watch on television gives them another direction. You could be present and you are negligent, and those children watch those things and still get spoiled under your roof. So we should not talk about profession here. Talk about the individuals in question.
Okay, I want us to take a glaring example since we are talking about possibility of professions and what may happen after that. We have persons who do not have professions. They are all business persons. Yeah. In Mutengen.
Well, those are professions.
In Tico. They are professionals. No, I mean, I don't know. Career, something like that.
Career, career.
You have in Tico, in Mundimba, in Munyenge.
Yes.
You have the parents who have the time. They go either to farm, and the husband also goes to farm, and I don't know. But they're always with the kids when they have time. Are those kids necessarily more responsible, more successful because the parents have more time with them?
No. I think we're trying to go out of what we're trying to look at here.
We're talking about building a healthy family.
Are there professions that are favorable for relationships and marriage? Obviously, yes, they are. That's what I'm trying to say, that they are. They are professions. No, because when we go to the negatives or the extremes or the minutes or the small few, in terms of statistics, you're trying to put. Now, statistics have proven that when you invest in the life of your relationship, you will get out of it. And statistics have proven that people are more carried with their jobs. The more they obey their bosses in the offices more than when they are operating in their homes. That's what statistics have proven. It has proven maximally that people are deviated from their homes as a result of their jobs. It has proven. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because in an equation of about 100 people, you will see about 20 people are able to manage both their jobs and their families. Unfortunately, about 80% can't manage these two things. That's what we are trying to talk about. Yes, it's a percentage, something we are looking into. We are trying to see how many people are able to do this particular care and concern at a distance. How many people are able to do this kind of concern when they are carried into their jobs? I'm telling you, like Madam Fortune just said something here concerning the banking sector. Sometimes you come there and people are pouring out their anger on you. Sometimes people are desperate, they want this and this and this and this. And then you want to come back home, you are tired like an animal. And you want to struggle to see how you can please your husband. You want to try to see how you can please your children. At the end of the day, there is a lot of problems. See, everybody does not have the same kind of system to be able to manage stress or to manage pressure. Everybody don't have that kind of system. And scientifically speaking, stress alone can make you to forget even the most loved people you have in your life. Stress takes away your libido. Even to have sex with your partner, you cannot have it because stress does that. And there are some jobs that are very stressful. There are some jobs that will take you away from the family, from the one you love, from everything. Now, talking about the issue of the personality you're going to marry and whatever. Now, at first, women they didn't want to marry pastors. Number one, because the pastors are wretched or they don't have money. After some time, they discovered that the pastors are getting richer and better. Now, they rush in to start marrying pastors. Then all of a sudden, the graph falls down. They no longer want to go for pastors again because of what? The lot of funny things that are happening among pastors. And then, if you are not that kind of a person that can manage your jealousy, you should not go in for jobs like people that are pastors. because they'll be dealing with women almost every day. Different kinds of women, they'll be counseling and they'll be handling women. Because a woman who is hyper jealous cannot marry a pastor. And that's what we're trying to say this. Cannot marry a minister of God. Cannot marry someone who deals with the opposite sex too much. Those are professions that will hurt your relationship. We have seen people that are taking bottle and hit it on people. We were here the other day talking about this particular lady pastor who took hot water and poured it on another lady. Now, it shows that you were not psychologically prepared to know that you're going to get married to a pastor who will be dealing with other women and will be handling other cases that has to do with the opposite sex. Now you take water and pour. What next will come? Acid, the next kind of thing. It shows now that there are certain professions that are sensitive. And those of you who are still preparing to get married, you should program your mind. It's either you accept that I am going into that marriage, this is what I'm going to see, or you decide to back off. Because you should know and you must know that there are certain professions that are sensitive. Check yourself. Ask yourself, am I strong enough to marry a pastor? Will I be able to take strangers coming to my house all the time? People coming to my house all the time. Okay, will I be able to see my husband counseling people all the time but cannot spend time with me to talk to me on certain things? Those kind of things are things we begin to ask ourselves before we enter into the marriage. Why are so many people getting divorced today? It's because they came to find out that what the husband is doing or what the wife is doing is hurting their home. Okay. It's hurting their homes.
Let's take the first reaction from Mrs. Asanji Yvette all the way from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Greetings to you. Greetings to my co-panelists. Greetings to televiewers. Mr. Leo, when we talk about healthy relationships, first, we might want to look at the kind of relationships, because we have long-distance relationships. We have relationships where the husband and the wife, they are together. So in a case where maybe people are in a long-distance relationship, I think any job or anything they are doing might not necessarily be a problem if they could actually, dedicate time for their spouse, time to talk, time to reply to their chats and to the spouse messages and all of that. But if we talk about a relationship where you are there with your spouse, relationship needs commitment. Relationship needs commitment. So if you want to get a job doing, I'll be talking more about the women here, because naturally men are people that are they're attached to what they do. They're attached to their work. A man who is not working, a man who is not earning money that can sustain him and sustain the family, will obviously not feel like a man. So men are workaholics, and that's one thing that women need to understand. They need to get to understand that when you get married to a man, know that sometimes he spends most of his time at work. Now he spends most of his time thinking of what is the next step, or what is the way out to make more money, to make sure that the family is up to date with whatever they need as basic needs is concerned. But when we talk about women, most of these things we'll be talking, it will be more of how the women or the kind of work that should favor women who are married. Because when you talk about marriage, a woman has, sometimes the society says that the woman has a lot of role to play in marriage. It's true. You have the home to keep, you have the children to take care of, you have yourself to take care of, you have the husband to take care of. So sometimes the load itself is heavy. So the kind of job now that you choose to do as a married woman, must be that which is suitable to your family time. So I'll be addressing, like I said, I'll be talking more to the women, because if the woman has to do work out of home, which is okay, because we are now in the 21st century, women are no longer relegated to the background like they used to. Women are no longer seen like those in the kitchen like they used to. So women can now work. Women are even at the forefront of politics today. We have female ministers. We have females that are championing a lot of things. But remember that as a woman, if you have to go out there to work, it's not a problem working. But the problem is, make sure that your work, your career, doesn't come in and interfere with your responsibilities as a wife. I think I counseled a couple here, and the problem was just that the husband said, close from your shop at 5. Okay, she sells dresses. Close from your shop at 5 p.m. Whether there is work or there is no work, close at 5 p.m. Go home so you can check what has been happening at home. Even if you have nannies, even if you have a caregiver, house helps, you still have to go back to your home and attend to some key things as the mother of that home. So the wife saw it as a problem closing at 5 p.m. that sometimes people come to buy in the evening. And so it has been a serious problem between them. So if as a wife, you must have a closing time. It's not about a number of people that are coming in to buy. You should understand that you have a whole responsibility at home. You have the house to take care of. You have the children to take care of. You have the home entirely to take care of. You have yourself. You have the husband. You have to cook food. You have to make sure that things are in order. Even if you have a house helps and maybe others that are assisting you, nannies, you still need to give the time that is needed for your home, to be in one piece. So if as a woman you're watching me, understand that when it comes to work, I like it when every woman goes out there. In fact, I hate what they call a housewife as a profession. You ask some women, what are you doing? They tell you, I'm a housewife. Housewife is not a profession. So in as much as I encourage women to go out there and work, I also want to caution the women that whatever you're doing, remember that your home is waiting for you. You need to go back to your home and attend to key things. I mean, the things that is only you that can attend to them.
Okay, Mr. Asanji, coming in there from Bamela. Madam Fortinglet, we are talking about professions that work for the betterment of a relationship or a marriage. Now, she's raising the issue of the housewife. There are men who say that I am too busy. I need a woman that is at home so that at least she stays at home and takes care of the kids and other domestic responsibilities to balance up with the fact that I'm not away. Okay, the husband has a job, but the wife is sacrificed because they should strike a balance.
Mr. Leo, I still get back to the fact that it depends on the people in question, those we are dealing with. It depends on their mindset and their maturity in the area of marriage. There are babies who rush into marriage without understanding what it is all about, and sooner or later, before you know, they start having challenges, problems. Oh, I shouldn't have been working. This one shouldn't have been working. No, marriage is meant for adults, people who are grown-ups and people who know what they want in life, and who know what they want from the life. This means that it's about dialogue. It's about dialoguing to understand that, do we accept that both of us should be running out there? Or we want that one person stay back and do something that is lighter? There is no profession, like I highlighted, a bad person is a bad person. Madam Asanji just spoke about a woman who does business. And the husband is insisting that she should close at 5 p.m. She has a problem with a woman that is doing business. But there is a man whose wife is a banker, and he wants the wife to leave banking to do business so that she can create time. This is a woman who is doing business and should have time for her family, but she does not give the time to the family. It depends on the person in question. It is true that there are some professions that are extremely demanding. I take for my case, working in a financial institution, working in the banking area, there are days that we close work at 8 p.m. But that does not stop the fact that I need to play my role as the wife, as the mother that I am. That's factual. There's no way you want to tie down a man, that a man should not do the things he has to do simply because you as the woman, you too have a career you need to pursue. While the man is pursuing, he knows his responsibilities. And while I as the wife, I am pursuing my job and my career, I know my responsibilities. So me going home, closing my work at 10 p.m., at 8 p.m., I get home and there is no food. the excuse is that I have been at work and that's why there's no food. To me, it is not an excuse, because there's supposed to have been a plan B. Before then, I know that I am supposed to be a banker. I know the demands of my job. So if I have to be a wife, a banker, and a mother, I am supposed to prepare all of that well ahead of time. I know that these are my responsibilities. I should do well to ensure that food is available, whether cooked by me, not cooked. It's a home. These days there are homes where they accept nannies to prepare food. There are homes that some husband will not accept nannies to prepare food. You, the wife, we know how to handle some of those things. Mature-minded women should know how to handle some of those things. So I don't see any reason why we should be depriving people from some kind of professions. But if you know that with this profession I cannot handle my work, I cannot handle my family, then you don't go in for it. Know thyself. Even the Bible says, "It's a man, know thyself." So I know that.
Know the capacity of
know my
your
capacities,
husband,
yes.
To complement what you can do.
To complement, like we know marriage, first of all, is for complementarity. So it's not because the husband is running out there I must run out there. We are to complement each other. So if I know that I will not be able to sit, or I will not be able to accept this condition from my spouse, then I should not even get into the marriage. Reason why you have to talk before you get married. But if you fall in a situation where you were not able to dialogue and get all these things squarely before you get into marriage, at one point you really have to dialogue and know what you want for your relationship. What do I want for my marriage? What do I want? Can I manage this thing? If I accept my wife that after 2 years of marriage, after 3 years of marriage, she is now a banker, she is now a teacher, she is now an engineer, and her work demands that she should be going out, will I really accept it? You sit down, you dialogue, and you come to on common grounds before you move on.
Good evening, Mr. Lo, please. What's the profession of the First Lady of Cameroon? She is the First Lady of Cameroon. Good evening to you all, the panelists. That's a very nice program that will educate a lot of couples, but no woman will not have chance to watch. All they know is to be watching films. And Big Brother Niger and Menkem Gerard writing from Boya. Wow. Good evening. I'm Victory from Limbe. What our sister is saying is true. Some women don't have time to take care of their husbands, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu. Women should know that career of their husband before accepting, should know the career of their husband before accepting to marry them in order to not have problems in future. Wanja is writing from Damas in Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I love the program. Nuela is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Nuela. Ngwa Cornelis Fosi, writing from Tico. Marriage is a union between a man and a woman. What matters is understanding and maturity. Above all, faithfulness will undermine the kind of job they do. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the panelists. Please ask Madam Henrietta, at what time do you take care of your home as a banker, provided you close work at 8 p.m.? Making food available isn't enough. Madam Henrietta. Yes, I think...
let me answer him.
Okay.
I don't close work every day at 8 p.m. I don't close every day at 8 p.m. There are exceptional days. Let's say once in 2 weeks, I close at 8 p.m. That doesn't mean that all through I will close at 8 p.m. I close work at 5 p.m. So there are days that exceptionally I might close at 6 p.m. I might close at 8 p.m. Those are exceptions. It doesn't mean that by rule that's how I'm supposed to close or I should close from work. But sometimes the demands come up. So some of those exceptions can show up once in a while, but it is not a rule in the career.
Okay. Mr. Leo, good evening and thank you very much for your educative program. The topic for today is an interesting one and it will go a long way to help this planning to get married. My special greetings to Prophet Ambe for his brilliant inputs in all the topics he has been contributing to. Mr. Kum, I like words to thank the management of my media prime creating such a program. Mama Jane is writing from Bermuda. Good evening to you, Mama Jane, and thank you for the encouragement. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I salute all of you on the panel. I enjoy your program so much. Please, can I have Apostle Ambe's contact? This is Misericord, writing from Yaoundé. Apostle Ambe, we're talking about healthy relationship and career. What do we really mean by this? Healthy relationship means that we are in good health. Is that what we're talking about?
No, healthy relationship connotes a lot of things. For instance, the first thing in any healthy relationship is not good health, it's peace.
Okay.
A house that experiences peace always is healthy. And to live in a peaceful environment is the foundation for every other success. Probably business may succeed, the health may be in order, the family may also grow well, the children may be properly brought up, because under a hostile atmosphere, whether nationally, internationally, in every facet of life, once there is no peace anywhere, there is no growth. Any nation that wants to grow must experience peace. Security is a very fundamental aspect in nation building. It's the same way when there is peace in the marriage, definitely children will grow under a serene atmosphere. The father and the mother will play their role effectively to grow up the children. Also, when there is peace, there will be collaboration. And because two heads are better than one, they can think better and make better decisions. When there is peace, they can also join their resources together to make sure investment is properly done. And when there is peace, it also serves as a role model for children to grow under a serene atmosphere that gives them the opportunity to reason also. Because when there is war, hostility, children become psychologically traumatized. You cannot effectively grow up children. Number two, there will be divergent views between father and mother. Father will be directing the children on the right, the children, mother is directing them on the left. Such an atmosphere is hostile. Thirdly, one mind will be thinking, but the Bible says two are better than one. My little challenge I have this evening is that we seem not to understand the implication when it comes to the issue of professions.
Okay.
Yes. We are trying to look at who will cook food. We are trying to look at who will stay at home with the children. We are trying to look at the first thing we have to understand is that the life of the father and the mother are the number one disciples.
Okay.
If the father is always available and he's a drunk, he will produce drunkards. If the father is always available and is caught inside the room on his matrimonial bed with other men, he will produce adulterers. If the woman disrespects the husband in the presence of the children, she's raising rebels tomorrow. So the first disciples are the parents. If the parents do not have a life that can model the children's life, definitely they will produce after their kind tomorrow. Now, sometimes it even becomes very dangerous when a man and a woman are constantly in the house. When they stay together, they see every single error that each other make. When they stay consistently in the house, they constantly broke into query and misunderstanding. I have also studied that when a man gets up in the morning, finds his way, the woman finds her way. When they meet back, maybe in the afternoon or in the evening, the tension in the house reduces. But when they constantly sit each other face to face and the man excretes here, the woman sees it. He puts cup here, the woman sees it. He offs the gas, the woman sees it. And she does not clean the floor, the man sees it. You will realize that you can be able to see 50 errors in a single day. Meanwhile, if you were captured in your office somewhere, you'll be able to find those errors always. Number two, the professional world is not stupid to have created what we call leave. They create leave for you to spend time with your family. They create leave for you to rest. They create leave for you to also spend time with your children. There are jobs on this earth that we cannot, I repeat, tell the individuals in question to get married. Because when we are trying to say some particular jobs on earth do not deserve marriage, which is absolutely impossible. You are telling that pilot woman that she's supposed to remain a celibate throughout her life. You are telling the pilot man that he is not qualified to get married. But marriage is not for a particular class of people. Because statistics has proven beyond reasonable doubt that the persons who seem to qualify as those who are around do not also produce good husbands and good wives in marriage. Are you telling me that the seaman also should be struck off the calendar of marriage? Because if we want to stick here on profession, it means we are writing off certain professions of certain individuals not to ever get married. A pilot should not get married. A banker should not get married. A seaman should not get married because their job is demanding. What's the meaning of that? A journalist should not get married because Kum is doing news here every day and goes back home at 8 p.m. in the night. That's the reason why ideas of maids came into the picture. Because sometimes there are women who are in the house 24 hours. They still have maids. The maids are there to cook food for them. They run things for them. So is it the absence or the presence of a wife that brings a maid? Are you telling other the women who are constantly in the house are not qualified for maids? That's what we are trying to strike now.
Most of them have.
They have maids. So what's wrong if a woman who is not in the house finds a maid to take care? The truth is, when they give job description, in this house, my underwears are washed by my wife. My food, it must be prepared by my wife. My wife can cook food for 2 or 3 days. Put in the fridge. When it's time for me to eat, they warm it and I eat. The thing is time management and how to manage your job and how to manage your family. Except we want to say certain professions should be struck off the word of marriage, which is absolutely impossible because those individuals in question also have families to build. The next we have to consider when it comes to getting married to people with different professions that are demanding is as simple. Sometimes a man who is a pilot can choose to take a wife along. Pastors carry their wife to crusade grounds and conferences. They carry their family out of the country. A man could be given a holiday to go somewhere. He carries his family there. My problem is, what are the rules that guide your house? Because the individuals under their roof and in their presence, their children have become nonsense.
Okay, let me share this one with from my brother, Nong Tu, Justine, Kai, who is watching. I say I had a friend who was an international truck driver and a very good Nigerian brother. He shared his experience with us when his children did not really have a connection with him. He changed his mind and his job when he once came back from a trip of 3 weeks to Italy, and his youngest son went into the house and told the mother that there is one uncle in the sitting room. When his son referred to him that one uncle, he saw that his family was not a burn due to his job. Very serious one here, Apostle.
It's just that the thing is that we are not trying to come to definitions of terms of what we are trying to talk about.
Okay.
Are there jobs that are sensitive to relationship?
Yes, but that's the question.
Are there jobs that have a problem when it comes to relationship? We are not saying that those people should not marry. We are saying that before you marry such people, you should know that these are the demands and these are the things. And not everybody can marry such people.
Has the capacity.
Yes,
to bear.
There are some people that can marry them. Now the question is, what are the needs of a family? Somebody just asked there, is it only cooking you want to cook for your house? That's it. What are the needs? Listen to this thing. It is very careful. I'm talking as an educational psychologist, which has to do with human behavior and how they act to their day-to-day life. And then as a pastor, I'm someone that deals with people every day to a close. I'm that kind of person that can relate with 1,000 people and I don't have problems. I have come to understand that there are certain professions and relationships that are setbacks to marriage. You can only upgrade in order to manage such relationships. You can, yes, yes, you are saying that, but do we accept, have we even accepted that there are professions that are not healthy when it comes to certain family lives and principles? What are the needs? There's the psycho, there's the filial, the emotional part of it, where you talk to people, listen to them one-on-one and try to know their challenges and whatever, knowing the different grades of children from 1 to 5, from 5 to 10, from 10 to adolescents. You have to know all those needs and their demands to be able to meet up with such things. And we are seeing our generations wiping away. That's what we're talking about, the Android generation. The Android generation is totally condemned because of what? The parents are not there to guide them. Now, when we put on these televisions, we say parental guardians. We put on the televisions 16. It means that people from 16 and below should not watch it. How many parents take the time, or how many parents are there to coach the children through that. Okay, they put parental guardians. It means that the parents should be able to guide them from that. How many parents do guide these people? Because they don't have time. And even if they have time, they are angry when the children are making noise. Because they don't know that noise is part of the component of family life. They don't even know that sometimes the children can disturb you even after you're very tired. It's part of the family life. And these are certain things we're trying to talk about that hurts relationship because the people or the men or the women have decided not to understand what how much their professions can hurt a relationship or how much it can be a blessing to relationship. And I can also tell you that there are certain professions that are a blessing to marriage. It creates a lot of balance in marriage. It creates a lot of settlement in marriage. And then the peace that Apostle Ambe was talking about is found in such a melee. There are certain professions. Do we refuse that there are no bad people in marriage that can make homes bad? And then like Madame Fortingler was saying something here that if you're a bad man, you're a bad man. If you're this, you're this, you're this. People can change. Environment change people. Things change people. You go to your office where men come for you every day and that kind of a thing. And then you have your husband who is never there and that kind of a thing. And then you're aroused or some kind of things before you see a woman falls. We've heard something that I fell into this thing. Why did they fall? Is it their behavior? Is it their attitude? No, it is not. But they fell into it because after a long time they were under a pressure and they could not go to it. That's how characters and behavior change. Because people did not really want to be like that. But because they see the same kind of people doing those things every day, that nature becomes like that. That, for example, look like a chameleon. If it comes to a place where there is green, it turns green. If it goes to a place where that's how human beings operate many a times. That's why in the process of growth, we also say that there are environmental factors which affects growth of a child, of a family, of a husband, of a wife. If a child goes to where he sees girls dressing half dress every day, that child will become like that. If the child goes to a place where she sees that girl's culture, we know that, even though we know that there are some set of children that will still go out, what we call deviant behaviors. Those ones are exceptional in cases. That is why in special education, we have people that they call special children. When we talk about special children, we are not just talking about those who are handicapped or they have a disability. We are talking about those who are having challenges, especially in their behavior too. There are children who are gifted and talented. They are not handicapped, but they are special children. Now, these kind of children cannot grow in a milieu where parents are not there. They need to grow somewhere where parents are there. Not even because they don't listen to house help. I know of conditions. A house help will talk, they will not hear. But when the parents come, they say, I'm going to report you for PAG, I'm going to report you for BAMI. And that's how they want to report. But now, even after they report these children to you, what do? You don't, because you are tired. You cannot manage your psychological pressure and you cannot manage that of raising up children. We should be able to come to the point to understand this is what I'm entering into. It is a relationship problem. It is going to be, it's a profession that will hurt relationship. It's a profession that, okay, I will adjust like this, I will adjust like this in order to cover up the loopholes of the relationship. That is what is known as helpmeet comes in. A helpmeet, the right kind of help will come into that situation because of what? You see, a woman like we grew up in, we have been in Chico for a very long time, and that's one of the experiences I have about the military people. The truth about it is that the wives usually give birth to children with other men. Because after you go and stay for 1 year, 7 months, and then the other thing, if you want to come back, the woman is pregnant for another man. And we always have those kind of things they occur. People who grew up in camps, you will testify to me that most of the people who grew up in camps can testify that the children, they came out somehow. They came out either gragra, they came out wild. And there are certain milieus. Okay,
in
like
camps?
Yes.
How do you understand? I don't understand.
Like I grew up in Moliko where we had these CDC camps. These CDC camps.
Are you gragra?
Now Jesus help me. Oh. Mr. Leona, Jesus help me.
I was born precisely in Camp 7 in Lobe Estate.
But can you testify that out of 100, maybe few of you came out? You will testify that when we are talking. Out of 100, how many came out well? Those are environmental. They have, even, okay, those who go in barracks, we are hearing them even in films and everything every day. They grew in barracks, army barracks and all the like. Everything that happens there affects their character and affects their life. So these kind of things are professions that affects this. Do you know that military children, their lives are affected very highly, especially that when that aspect of masculine gender is lacking in their upbringing?
Okay, let me take some messages and then we continue with you. Madam Fortinglet, who has been away for some time. I'm sure some persons have questions for you. Oops, very difficult to read because the messages are just coming and coming. Oops, I'm missing it. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Apostle Essingie is making an important point. Mercy is writing from Fumbot. Good evening to you. Thank God you are not in Kutaba. Good evening at the studio. It's St. Luton. Please, I like the program this evening. My own contribution there is that I remembered when our mother grew 6 of us up and she had no problems with my father. She would go to work and come back and still do her house chores. Today, women are very lazy. They go about looking for house help. The truth is, a woman can go to her work place and still come back home and do her house chores. It's just laziness. That's why they go about looking for house help. Thanks, okay? I hope you will not use one, good evening, Mr. Leo, and your panelists, especially Apostle Ambe. I am Tandy Emmanuel from Motengene, enjoying the wisdom and experience of your panelists on board. I wish many of my peers who are SSS are watching the program. More grace, okay? Single and still searching. Keep searching. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thanks for this topic. There are some women who sell in the market from morning to 8 p.m., even on Sundays. I wonder how such run their homes. Children are left at the mercy of neighbors. Immaculate from Bomenda. Okay. Good evening to you all. Appreciate your choice of topics discussed. Healthy relationship depends upon understanding and trust between couples despite their careers. Thanks, as Brother Henry writing from Bomenda. But there is this notion of I am a career lady. I have to pursue my career. I have to be this. And there is the house girl. I provide money. She will take care. I have one seminar to attend here, and many women actually boast about this, that they are successful ladies. They call them the femme capable.
Mr. Leo,
I'm sure you belong to one of these of femme capables.
That's actually one challenge that career women or women that are in the working sector nowadays really face. That's one challenge, and I think that topics like this, when they come up, they can help to shaping their ideas. I know gradually women are getting to adjust. You know, in the past, women were not given some kind of opportunities to occupy some positions in the society, in companies and all of that. And as time goes by, things are changing, things are evolving, and women are now granted some privileges which they never had in the past. And you will know, obviously, that changes, they come with a lot of behavioral issues, you know, time to adjust to those changes and all of that. And I think a lot of women are adjusting to it. It is not something that is affecting every woman. Like we said, to every rule there are exceptions. There are exceptions. It's not every career woman.
Build theories based on exceptions. That's it. You are an educated person. We don't build theories based on exceptions.
Well,
we build it based on the majority.
Well, to think that, but that doesn't mean that we are going to bring back the woman from career and keep her home because they don't need to work or because they need to take back their place in the house. Working as a woman doesn't mean that you have escaped from your responsibilities as a wife, as a mother. If you want to be a career woman, now let me talk in line with the question Mr. Leo just asked me. If you want to be solely a career woman to run after your things left and right, then you don't get married or you don't have children, because you must create that time for your family, for your husband, for your children, because they say that it's a woman that keeps the home. We are talking in the African concept. We are in Africa. So we are not in Europe where it's about you run it out, you run out, I run out. Okay, we are in Africa. We are trying to look at things in the African concept. What actually is comfortable and convenient enough for the home. If you know that you are a married woman, you have a lot of things to do, and your husband too is a very busy person who cannot sit in sometimes to help in your responsibilities, some of those things can be cut off. Why not? Especially at the time that your children are still small, in order to give them time and build them home up. If everybody is running around, so what happens to the children? That is very normal. Yes, we have a career to build. Why do we build these careers? Because we need money. Because we need money to keep the home. Sometimes we need fame and all of that, blah, 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 blah. But we need to take all of that into consideration. I'll come back to the fact that, Mr. Liu, take it either way. You are busy or you are not busy. There are always excuses to people with bad behaviors. We cited a case of maybe a woman who does business or who is a teacher, and she has a lot of time for her home, for her family, for her children, but whose husband is hardly around. The husband is very busy. Now, someday you will come back and she has cheated. Apostle Essingie talked about a woman who had children with another person simply because the husband has not been around for years. So she now has children with another person because she wants to complement the fact that her husband is not there. Okay, I need to keep myself comfortable. She has children. That's an excuse. Now, was she busy? No. Now, she was around. Now, there are equally cases where the husband is around, the wife is around, but there is still cheating, there is still misbehavior. The children too are still not well catered for. Whose fault now? Do we really rule out the fact that some people should not do certain things in life simply because they want to keep a healthy home? I'll come back to the fact that it's about maturity and mindset, knowing what you're going for, whether you are accepting it or you are not accepting it. If you are to get married to a military man, know that there will be days that he will go for training in France. He keeps you behind with the children for 5 years. So you should be ready to accept and sit and wait until he comes back.
That is what I'm talking about.
So if you are not ready, don't accept it. Don't. If you are getting married to a pastor, know that pastors, they go out for work. They have missionary works. They go out, they travel a lot. So you should be ready to stay back with the children. It's either you're accepting or you are not accepting it. And that is why I said marriage is not for children. It's not for little-minded people. People who cannot support in situations that your husband has gone on a mission or that your wife has to go for a mission. You accepted to get married to her because you knew that she is in the military and you know that the day she will not be around. So as a woman, that is a career. And if you accept to get married to her, then you should be able to accept all of those. Yes, so if she's not around, then you have to make provision for who will take care of the children in her absence. And you should be able to accept it.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. Toga Samuel from Fumbot. Just to let you know, I and my family are enjoying your program so much. And it's sweeter when Apostle Ambe is there. Good evening to you, Mr. Toga, and to the entire family watching us from Fumbot Noon Division. Also, greetings to everybody watching us from Fumbot, Kutaba, and why not Fumban. Good evening to you and your panelists. I think every marriage is unique irrespective of profession. At times, what breaks a home elsewhere is the bond of another home. The main issue is for couples to agree on a common solution when challenges come up. Dr. Eugene Munto is writing there. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and all the panelists in the studio. A military man who abandons his wife for months because he is on mission and a woman under similar circumstances will automatically help each other. Luizo is writing from Santa. Good evening, Mr. Liu and my able panelists. I love the way Apostle Essingie analyzes his points. He is very practical. Gabi is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks to all the people besides you for their good education on relationships, which we all put into practice. From Dikum Philomena from Grand Nord. Good evening to you, Philo. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Renee writing from Yaoundé. Most women don't do their work because of phones, and it brings them problem in their marriage, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the Kingdom luminaries in the studio. From Brother Sone from Boya. Mr. Liu, I affirm to Apostle Ambe's stand, the issue is not the kind of profession of the husband or wife, but I think it's all about putting in place and according on certain principles on how to manage your after work life. Even the Bible says two cannot work together except they agree. However, it is also awesome if couples do the same career, as it will generate a lot of socio-domestic leverage and home stability. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, Mr. Kum, and to the panelists. I'm actually enjoying your good works in educating or informing the public. Sir, what advice would the panelists give to a couple that got married before getting into their different careers? Ngwa Oliver Kum, writing from Boya.
I'm sure I mentioned that here.
Yeah,
The individuals who got married before getting into the, would they throw themselves or would they back out of the marriage? No. Mr. Leo, I think we should be able to, let's just go out of this scope of reasoning around here. The richest woman in the world is called Fuluronsho Alakija. Fuluronsho Alakija is a Yoruba woman. She's into the fashion world and also into oil and gas. She's a CEO of Fanfa Oil in Nigeria. Her testimony, this is her testimony, she said, even though I'm the richest woman in the world, declared by Forbes magazine, I still cook food for my husband. She controls such a huge empire, a very vast business conglomerate, yet she still cooks food for her husband. She still washes her husband's dresses. And she was asked, how does she manage the huge business enterprise she has with her home? She said, it's time. Create your program into time slots. You'll be able to execute it effectively. Whether at your job site or at home, if you don't know how to manage time, if they give you 24 hours, you will still useless it. There are women who stay in the house and watch telenovela and pot gets burnt on fireside. Pot of food gets burnt on fire, not because one was absent. There are women under their roofs, their children sleep with each other. There are women under their own nostrils, their children are smoking Indian hemp, smoking cigarette. How do you explain that? They don't know how to manage. I think bringing up children is a skill that one has to learn. If you give a man who has not studied how to drive a car within 24 hours, they will not kick that car because the person lacks the skill. So if you put children in front of a man, a woman, within 24 hours who has not learned the skill of bringing up children, she will still raise hoodlums. The one who controls World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, she's married and she has children. And before she could attain that height, she was married and moved from one stage to another, as a married woman. How did she manage to create time to give birth to children? How did she manage to create time to pursue her career? This is because she was able to manage time. This is Madam Henrietta sitting here. She has 3 kids. Are you telling me that in the course of rising to the level of a branch manager in a bank, she didn't have work at hand? She didn't create time to give birth to children. She didn't create time to grow those children. It was all management of time. Note that every woman that is married has voluntary break when pregnancy comes. That is an automatic. They are not asking whether your company gives you leave or does not give you leave. When you become pregnant and you deliver, that's an automatic break that you have to stay there. Secondly, there are strategic things in a house that when a woman does, even if she's not 24 hours, the children feel her presence. There are strategic things a man does equally. When he is not there, he comes and does it once or twice or 3 times a week. The children will equally feel their father's presence. Number 1, provision for a man. Number 2, mothers, how do I put it? When a woman is let me use the right word. I want to refit the right word. When a woman is the one that disciplines children, when she's the one that calls children to order, they can never forget their mother's presence. I have seen mother control their homes with the father's name in the absence of the father. You are making that thing when your father comes, which means you realize that the man's presence is not too needed. Only his name is enough to set things in order. clean that pot, because if your father comes back in the evening, that name of father is sufficient authority that the mother can use to set a certain level of order in the house. So why do we see these career women who are married have successful marriages and equally successful in their career? Then you find some other women who are not even successful in their career and they are big time failures in their marriages. I think we have to point some things very clear. Thank God we are even in a time whereby technology has advanced. I travel out of the country. I talk to my wife on phone, video, and I talk with the kids. The children feel me. They see me. When a man says he came one day and the son told him that he is that uncle, that is an hyperbolic expression. Is your photograph not in the house? Don't you talk with them on phone? Is there no picture in the house that the child can identify the father? Or the mother does not know what to do to show the child that this is your father, even if the man went for a training for 6 years? It's not normal. When I hear such statements, I call them hyperbolic expressions. There is no way a woman can give birth to a child and then the child comes and look at the father and say, this is an uncle. Uncle in what way? That the father, the mother does not know how to tell a child that this is your father. Not in this era. Not in this generation.
Okay, we are living in a social media world.
Yes.
My wife is not in
Cameroon.
Yes.
And your children feel you. They feel her.
The children speak with her every day as if she was around. I feel it. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thanks for always taking topics that scratches where it's itching. Please, can you and your panel help me out of a situation where your wife insists on traveling abroad for her greener pastures to abandon you with the kids to tender ages? What is your advice to this situation? I think I should answer you. I should answer you. Actually, my wife is not around. She left. I'm living with my kids, 2 boys. I sleep with them. They will not sleep until I'm back in my house. Every weekend, I have to stroll around with them. And they really, I don't know, to me, it appears, they have the feeling that their mother is always there, because they talk with her every moment on video call. Yes, but then this is like sharing my own experience, yes. But I think that she did not leave that I want to go for greener pastures like she's going to Dubai or Kuwait and that. No. She came to my house, stayed registered nurse school. After, she said, I want to get a degree in nursing. We agreed, and then she goes to the nursing program, and then by the time she's ending, we have our first son. After our first son, she says, I want to do a master's in public health. I agreed to that, and then she starts the program, and then she gets pregnant. By the time she's finishing her master's program, we get our second son. After that, she says, I want to continue my education in this and that. I should not stop her. She goes, and then we are still living as if she's here, and I'm sure we should be through with what she's doing, and then life continues. So I think that you should use what I've just said to answer the person who is just asking the question. But it depends on why your wife actually is moving. It's true.
Well defined.
Yes, but
Going forever.
why you laughing, Apostle?
It's 2 years.
Because he is asking that.
We are taking people with strong abilities and comparing them with people who don't have those abilities.
Okay.
You could have grown, just like Apostle Ambe is trying to compare himself now with some kind of people. No, with time and maturity, he has grown to adapt to those kind of principles. But how many people do that? Because we are talking on air now, everybody is listening to what we are saying. Mr. Leo, you have adopted this thing with time. It did not, because when she left, it was not easy for you. And like, it took you some time to be able to adapt to what you are today, and to be able to develop skills to manage the children at this period. Because normally you stay here from morning till 8 o'clock, and you go back home to meet those children.
I'm not part of this discussion, but yes. let me share with you why I allowed her to go was from the onset. It would, if not, once she finished her state registered nurse school, I would have insisted, like any other African man, that I am struggling also look for something so that you struggle and help me. Well, what came to my mind is the vision. She has a vision. I have one. I should not be that stumbling block. That is where it all starts. Because if not, I would have stopped her from the very beginning that no, you are married to me, you have a diploma in state registered nurse, go and look for a job in one clinic. I'm struggling and you're struggling, and then we have our kids, and that's it.
Meaning that we have to redefine marriage. Yes, we have to really redefine the marriage. Because marriage is no more companionship, it's no more fellowship, it's no more, I think, complementing one another. Because I think that it's not good for a man to be alone. That's the basis of marriage. And then a fruitfulness is also part of it.
Apostle.
You know, that loneliness plays a lot of things.
Apostle.
Yes.
You and I, we were in Boya.
I know.
When Malaika, my classmate in the university,
yes,
your wife, got a job with the bank in Douala, you did not refuse that stay in Boya with me. You allowed her to get to Boya.
These are exceptional cases we are talking.
Well, I spoke about 9 exceptional cases here. It is becoming almost a rule.
No,
you
allowed to mature people who understand human development. She wants to develop it, just like I was the one that pushed her to go and do masters in business administration, and I'm the one praying for her to go.
But you did not stop her.
Good, I did not. So, but not everybody has that capacity.
Pray for people to receive the capacity.
Let me come in.
Receive grace.
I want to establish the fact that apart from a woman getting married, she was born with a potential to serve humanity. Let marriage not be as a point of contact to swallow that potential. If I thought that German president, Angela Merkel, or chancellor, you call her, was swallowed by marriage, Germany would not have seen the leap in the economic growth they had, because a woman was given the opportunity to serve effectively. I think we should be able to define the position of marriage and then understand the role of marriage to humanity. People were born initially with their potentials and their capacities to serve humanity. You take somebody who's a medical doctor that could be the cure of cancer tomorrow and swallow her up in a marriage because the profession may affect her marriage, blah. Let that marriage stay somewhere else, because people are empowered and endowed with talents and giftings to serve humanity. If a woman is born who will be the cure to HIV and AIDS tomorrow, and you swallow her in a marriage because you think that that profession of doing research and going out and carry out research will hamper her marriage, well, let the marriage fail and humanity be saved. I said here once that marriage is the second grave that has killed so many purposes on earth. You see, the richest place on earth is a grave because it has songs that were never songs, books that were never written, companies that were never opened, and name it, inventions that were never invented. One other grave on earth is marriage. I've seen potential women, talented, skillful girls who grew up in secondary school, university, as soon as they got married in the domain of economics, mathematics, science, and every domain, marriage swallowed that thing and kept them there for production of children.
You are attacking marriage.
I'm not attacking marriage.
It is marriage that
I'm not attacking marriage. We are talking about marriage and
because you are saying marriage.
Why should marriage limit a woman's profession? Or
do you know of girls who have traveled abroad and gone and marry another boy there?
Who?
They are putting every day.
Apostle.
I don't know marry other men here.
That's what I'm saying.
Apostle. The reason why there became an agitation for women in mass, because why? Most women were kept at the back door when they had so much to offer to humanity.
But is that what we are saying now?
That's what we are talking here now.
No, that's not what we are saying.
What are we saying?
We are talking about men and women, not just women. You would have said that we are fighting women.
It's men and women.
Yes.
I'm talking about marriage, and men and women are involved in marriage.
Let's say that professions have buried those things.
No, of course.
We were reacting to one guy who wrote here.
That's him. That's the thing he said now.
I was answering that guy's question now.
Yes.
All of us are answering the guy's
now.
question. And you said that to you don't see problem. Let the girl go and build capacity. I also said that there are some girls that will go there and marry another person.
That's it. Man of God. That even if they stay here, they want to marry another person, they will go and marry.
No, but at least now, you know, your environment also, your environment.
If this man is asking this question, it means he's first of all not very comfortable with the idea that his wife should stay away from him. That is the reason why we are saying that you must come to an agreement.
Okay.
What is comfortable for you might not be comfortable for me.
Perfect.
What is comfortable, what you have been able to survive without your wife around you for a period of time, but that doesn't mean that he can. He is not like you. He does not have that level of maturity. He does not have that patience. And that is why I want to say that if you must handle that kind of a situation, there should be definition of timing. Because we've had a problems when people say, okay, I'm going for greener pastures. You've not sat as a couple and said, okay, I want to go out for studies. I have my master's program I need to pursue for 3 years. And you know that, okay, after 3 years, I'm coming back home. And that, I think one of the things that give you in your own situation a lot of comfort and assurance is because the time frame for your wife's study is well defined. And you know that, okay, she has 4 years and you have already prepared your mind that my wife will not be around me for the period of 4 years. But a wife gets up and tells you that I'm going for greener pastures. And you don't know, are you going to be there for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years? How do I go about this? How do we do? If you know you cannot manage the situations, define it. If you cannot define it, think other ways out.
Okay.
Because if this man accepts this woman going without knowing when there is going to be an end to this situation, if you got impatience, he's not ready and he's not prepared, he's not made up his mind.
Wife.
But you the why you want to, he has to live his life. He has to continue because he's not very sure about the wife coming back or what will happen next. He will live his life. He will go for a second wife and that is it. Before you know, there is a failed marriage somewhere, simply because they did not sit and dialogue and they came to a compromise and everybody was satisfied. Everybody has to be satisfied with whatever decision that is taken there.
Okay. Let's take the second reaction of Mr. Asanji Yvette from Parental.
So, Mr. Dio, when a woman wants to choose a career, most often a job, it should be that which can tie with what or can give her time to catch up with family responsibilities. Now you say that the man is more responsible with providing, then a woman has the other things to catch up with, like I just said. And so if you want to look at what a woman can do as far as a job is concerned and still meet up, you know, and still build a successful marriage, you're going to see that there are some careers, there are some jobs that are not really favorable. For example, you might have things like, let's say, nursing. Okay, you might have things like nursing or doctors. Sometimes, you know, they have to sleep at work. Sometimes they are called for emergency. Imagine that you want to spend your time with your family, and it's time that you just want to, you know, bond with your wife or bond with your husband, and then they call you up for work. There's an emergency. Immediately, you are out to save souls. You know, you're out to save lives. So you must leave whatever you're doing and rush to the hospital. So when we look at things like nursing, you can begin to see that, or doctor, if you're a nurse or a doctor, you can begin to see that this can somehow affect marriages, because doctors are those in the caring profession. They have to always be there for the patients. And then unfortunately we have less doctors as per the population is concerned. You see that one doctor is equivalent of, is charged to handling about maybe even 1,000+ people. But it's not supposed to be so. If we're in a society where doctors, we had many doctors, you could even work and then change, I don't think it will be a problem. But with, like, say, for Cameroon, you're going to see that it's really difficult. It's a difficult one because we have less doctors and the population is really large. So those kind of jobs are the jobs that can really affect a healthy marriage, because marriage needs commitment, relationship needs commitment. So the time that you might have to commit or to pay attention to certain things in your home, you might not have it. So working out of home is not actually a problem, but how committed are you to the things that can keep your marriage healthy? Some people are very busy, like I said, doctors, for example, but maybe the least time they have, they can give it all, you know, full commitment, full time, full attention to their spouse. And so if their spouse marries, and if you marry somebody that does that kind of work, okay, let's say like pastors. Apostle Ambe, for example, he's traveling, you hear that he's in Nigeria this week, next week you hear that he's this. So if you marry people that are not always there or they're always busy, and the least time they have, I want to say that they should put in that time, put in the commitment, trying to catch up where they missed out. Give the family the time, give the family the priority. When you are available, let them feel it. And then make it so memorable in a way that even if you have to go for another 1 week, it will not really, it will not really affect the family that much. So I want to believe that even though we have careers that can affect marriage, what you can do in your little free time you have can actually do, meet up with your family time, your family responsibilities, attention that is needed, and all of that to make your marriage successful. All marriages need commitment. If a marriage has to work, you need to give your time to it. You need to work on it. So if you don't have the time to work on it because you are so much concerned with, or you are so occupied with what you're doing, it's possible that your marriage might have some lapses. But like I said, when you come home, the little time that you have, make your family feel it. Give in your best. Give in your most. Let the children not feel the absence of the father for the entire week, and then weekend you are not still there. Have time for the children. Create time for the children. Be with them. So women, if you're working, in fact, I encourage every woman to work. Have something doing. But in as much as you do that, remember that your home is your priority. Imagine that I'm your counselor now. I'm so busy that I don't go home and cook for my husband. I don't know. When it's 4 o'clock, 4 p.m., I am closing. Sometimes if I exit counseling, it's just maybe because of differences in time zone. I'm counseling others in different countries. But with that, I make my husband to understand. So women, we are supposed to submit to our husbands. Don't do work that can take you completely away from home.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Asanji, coming in there from Bamenda. Mr. Liu, by the idea that circumstances vary with individuals, do you know that there are people whom a duty call of their spouse is a prayer come true for them? Luiso is writing from Santa. I don't know what the duty call is a prayer point for others. Mr. Liu, more grace to you, people from Bamenda. Please, Mr. Liu, I seem not to be understanding Apostle Ambe today. Please ask him to explain what he meant by marriage being the second grave. The problem is the person or the marriage. Okay, he's going to explain it to you, but I understand what he means. Greetings to you, Mr. Liu, and the entire panel. The topic today is very interesting. I wish to say that career or no career, what is important is the mindset of the couple and how you want your relationship should be. For example, I'm in a Bolova and my wife is in Chang. She works there and I work in a Bolova. So we prepared our minds to withstand all odds. We are truly managing our relationship very well. So what is important is the mindset. We talk to each other every time about our difficulties at home and her job. Career should be a background to strain relationships. A language is writing from a Bolova. Career shouldn't be a background, okay? It should not be the burial ground like what Apostle just said, where it should not be a grave. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Talking about women's profession, when I got married, my husband asked me to stay home and take care of our son, that his salary can take care of us. But as time went on, he started seeing us as a burden, and I regretted ever giving up my dreams because of marriage. Is Cynthia writing? Yes, Cynthia is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have a problem right now. I have the opportunity to travel. My husband has agreed that I should travel, but Mr. I am so disturbed because I am not comfortable leaving my husband with the children here, because my husband is always responsible when I'm around, but the moment I'm away from him, so I'm so confused right now. Okay, you just have to pray, please. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Protocol all respected. Mr. Liu, I had my first daughter at 18 years, second daughter at 21 years. After all this, I moved ahead with my education. I didn't let my kids and their father stop my destiny. Mr. Liu, today I'm a PhD year 2 student at the University of Bamenda and a category 2 teacher from HTTT. I'm not yet married because all men I meet for marriage are just there to kill my vision. So irrespective of a career, some men are just jealous and don't want their wives to go to school or pick up good jobs around. It's Sandra Kate writing from from Kumba, I'm sure. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the rest of the team. My perspective for marriage is that if we all can have a self-built knowledge about marriage and not based on material wealth or career choice, it will go a long way. If we are talking about empowering women and looking for good wives, we should be patient enough to accept their careers if truly we want to empower them. I believe that even with careers, we can look at marriage beyond careers while everyone becomes a companion and support one another. We are enjoying the show. Foka is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Foka, and to you all watching us from the Northwest Regional Capital. Greetings, Mr. Liu. I love your choice of topics, and I wonder how you manage to put them in order to suit our modern-day marriage affairs, and your panelists are always on point. Kudos to you, sir, and more grace to you. Ben is writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The debate is good, but tilted more on women. What about men? Oscar is writing from Loom. Very true. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Chris, watching from Bamenda. The program is really interesting. I tuned in late. I wish to know when the program will be rebroadcast. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the great panelists. Your programs are always very educative. You have a lot of wisdom in choosing topics. I'm learning a lot. Please, for the contact of Apostle Ambe and the educational psychologist. I am David, writing from Equatorial Guinea in Malabo. Okay, I hope I have the number. Yes, you have Apostle's number. I just sent it to you. Yes, Apostle. Many persons are still not. Who spoke last? Okay. Okay, yes, Apostle. This issue of the grief for marriage, not only for women, but also for men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me begin by citing the story of a certain evangelist who was called by God and greatly used of God. Every time this man would want to go out to minister, the wife would gather the children. They would sit around and start crying that he should not travel. He had conferences in different countries. So when people took note that they invited him the first place, he did not turn up. Second time, he did not turn up. Third time, he did not turn up because the woman kept doing the same thing over and over. He became very unpopular because they felt like he was not faithful with invitations. That's how his ministry died. If he wasn't married, his ministry would have died, would have fulfilled purpose. That is a great potential buried because of marriage. There are also women who have wonderful careers, who had wonderful careers before they got married. Listen to what that girl said. She got a job, and the husband said, don't do. They are arrogant men who believe they can solve all family problems. You must understand that before you got married to your nuclear family, you had an extended family. And sometimes your family will not allow because you are married. They will keep running to you. And if you think that the salary you are earning is enough to take care of your family, what about your extended family? Even in the Bible, Proverbs 31 says the woman who is a virtuous woman has to take her own money and buy a piece of land. That's what the Bible says. She should buy a piece of land for her husband with her own money. It means she had to come, she has to be supportive. It's arrogance that some men think like they are so proud, they don't want their wife to do anything, they will take up their bills. If you want to go and check their salary cannot even cover every responsibility. Let men be humble enough to understand that it doesn't take an individual to raise a family. That humility must be there. That wife you got married to also came to support you, not just to give birth to children, but also to carry the burdens of the family. And if men cannot accept this reality, arrogance will be at the forefront. You see the case of another woman who is very talented, skillful, and get married to a man. The man says, stop, don't do anything. I'll take care of this. That person you are stopping from carrying out that potential does not only need money. Humanity needs her potential to serve them. We need her potential as a banker, not to produce money, but to serve humanity. We need your wife's potential as a nurse, not to make money, but to serve humanity. So you are first of all endowed with any talent or potential to serve humanity. Money is just an added impetus to your potential or your talent. That is to say, your passion is what drives you to work even if you are not thinking of any salary. You want to render service to humanity. We have so much brought potential to a place of a product to be sold for exchange of money. No. What do we do about community workers, humanitarian workers, who go and render service to the community with any payment? That's their passion. That potential was given to them to serve humanity first. So money is like a bonus to the services you offer to humanity. But if you want to make it as if that the potential is only useful because you want to put money, it's an error. So when a man tells a woman that don't work, I will pay the bills, it looks like she's working only to generate money. No. She's working to serve humanity. There is a potential in her that you, the man, you don't have. And if she is not available, many persons who need that potential to survive, they will die. Many who need her to survive in any area, they will die. So let us understand that when a woman is sent into your house, she's carrying a talent, a potential, or an ability that can serve humanity to better the lives of individuals. If they are paying her a salary, that salary is just an appreciation or a compensation because no potential can be paid. If you want to go and check the services you are rendering in your bank, the money they are paying you cannot be compared to what you are rendering as services. That is to let you understand that the money is just a compensation of what you are rendering. Your services to humanity is higher than any salary so far. I cast out devils, I heal the sick, I do consultancy in all parts of the world, and then what more do they pay me? If they are paying me 10 million francs a month, it can't be compared to the services I render. So let us understand that when a man comes into your life, you can't stop him from doing his job because you think you have enough money to cater for the children. It is not about the money she gets. It's about the services the man or the woman renders to nature. God did not put potentials in us to make money. God put potentials in us to serve humanity. The person who is a medical doctor that finds a cure to HIV and AIDS was not find a cure to make money. He was find a cure to heal HIV/AIDS patient. Mr. Leo is here rendering service as a journalist, not to make money, because the services rendered here, the information you draw from him every week cannot be compared to his salary. But he's educating humanity. That's rendering services. Health workers who go into the field and make sure that common diseases are being treated, they are going there to render services. What about those who are working during the COVID-19 period, a contagious disease? What amount of money could be paid for those who are risking their life in front of a dreaded virus? Humanity they were serving. So let us know that before you stop a woman from doing a job, carrying a career, or doing deploying her potential, you are not stopping her because you have money to carry out the responsibility of the family. You are stopping her and depriving humanity from the services that God has embedded in her to render to nature.
Okay.
Please.
Now, I want us to understand this notion. I don't know if you've already spoken, but I would have loved you to also come to it. But all of us should look into this about fulfilling destiny, because we're talking about favorable careers that favor healthy relationship for men and women.
Men and women.
Now, are you more fulfilled because you are in a healthy relationship, or because you fulfilled destiny? For example, you are a man and you have a call to serve humanity, and your wife says no, you have to stay back here so that we can have a healthy relationship. You are not going to Ngaunduri to study that course so that you can create greater impact, but the family needs you, because that's what we are talking about here. And then you have this woman who has to go somewhere, and then the husband says, no, what matters to me is the health of our relationship. Must you fulfill destiny in a healthy relationship, or do we have persons who fulfill destinies out of relationships?
Yeah, Mr. Leo, in most cases, careers or professions are different from destiny.
Okay.
Destiny simply means where you were supposed to be at a given time to fulfill purpose. That's what destiny is. For example, Joseph found himself in the prison where the workers of the palace were found. That was destiny. Destiny took him to that prison because it is only from there that king can pick people from. So it was easy for him to go to the palace. That's destiny. What was his purpose? His purpose was to save the Israelites from the famine that was supposed to destroy the whole world in those times. So we should not take our careers and think that it is destiny. Okay. Destiny means finding where you were supposed to be at a given time. Some people, if they find themselves in America today, they cannot succeed. But when they come back to Cameroon, they will succeed. Because destiny was putting them to be here. So we should not mix our professions or careers with destiny.
Fulfillment of destiny.
Good. Okay. Your career can be a destined one. The kind of one you're supposed to be in. Like most pastors, they are saying that that's their destiny, to be a minister of God. They found themselves in that profession. What is their purpose? Their purpose is to deliver mankind from the traps of the devil and wickedness of Satan. That's destiny. So now some people are destined to be nurses in order to save lives of people. That is how destiny operates.
Yeah, but the question here is, can you be healthy? Can you live in a healthy marriage?
I was coming. I had to define what destiny was all about. Then I come. Now, you should also know that besides you carrying out all these professions and career and whatever, you have a legacy to keep. You have a generation to build. Because your father built his own generation until you came out. And now it is time for you to build your own generation. Now you go in to look for money, which at the end of the day, the money does not help the family to move forward. It becomes a problem. As you fix your bed, so shall you lie on it. You can't leave your bed scattered and you go back and come back to think that the bed will be straight and fixed for you. That's what we are trying to say, that while you are going in front to do profession, you should also think that the family is very important. Relationship and career should favor family upbringing, because the essence of some of these professions is to give us the money to take care of the family. But unfortunately, while we are trying to look for this money, we destroy family that we are intended to take it. A lot of our children have gone astray. A lot of people have gone astray. Husbands and wives have gone astray because of this issue of not bringing their profession to balance it with the family. Just like these two, this young man that just spoke there, he said that him and the wife have come to that understanding about their careers. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But have your children also understood? We should not be thinking any other. We should also know that the children should understand our professions, and they should be able to accept it, that even my parents are not there, it is for our own good to be able to take care of us at a later on in life. That's exactly what we're supposed to see it. But the children, in most cases, don't have a say in these things. They don't have it. But that's why the white man has made provision for children to also have a say. That's why you cannot leave your children at home just like that on their own. You cannot leave them. You have a problem. But here in Africa, we leave a child is 5 years old, is taking care of the brother that is 2 years old or 1 year old. Yes, that's how we do it. At the end of the day, what are we doing? You are expecting this child who is 5 years old, even that house help that is taking care of your children, they need attention, they need care, they need psychological, emotional, and all balance. And then, if they are hurt, you don't know what some of these house helps do to our children. We had a case in Boyade in Great Support where a woman left the house help with the little son in the house. The house help was carrying the child and put on her body, and using this child to masturbate. Until that day, the woman discovered it. Now, all your life you're working, and this child has grown in that situation. What do you think that child will become? Because that is what they have trained that child to be.
Okay. Can you fulfill destiny out of marriage?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Not everybody was destined to be.
Yeah, because almost everybody wants to get married, and we are looking for ways of having the best form of marriage within our respective careers.
Not everybody was destined to get married, in as much as every other person wants to get married. But not everybody was destined to marriage. For marriage, there are people that when you see them in their attitude, they are not. That is why you hear the commonly talk of wife material, husband material, and all of that. There are people that their nature, their activity, their mentality is not a marriage-oriented one.
Husband machine.
So they are not meant for, not everybody is meant for marriage. That's why the Bible even talks of eunuchs. That's why we have sisters. Not everybody, they willingly get into it. Like, I don't want to get married. I want to serve God. I don't want to get married. I have a friend who pursued her career so much that she got married at a certain age, and then at a certain stage, at one point she decided to divorce. She said, no, marriage is not a thing. This same marriage that some people cry, they're looking for it, there are all that people will tell you that marriage is not my thing, and I don't want anybody disturbing my life. I want to forge ahead of my career. I want to do my business. I don't want any man ordering me around. I don't want any woman nagging in my ear saying, I want to live my life. And they fulfill their career so well. They are whatever they are in the government, or whatever they are in the world, and they're pursuing and going without getting married. We have Honorable Kawala here. She's not married, but she's fulfilling her career. She's fulfilling her dreams. She doesn't need a man by her to do the things she's doing. So why not forge ahead? You don't need a man. And we are saying that marriage should not be that kind of a place where destinies, like Apostle was trying to outline here, that marriage has become a place where visions are buried, books that were not published and all of that. Marriage, it should not be that kind of a place. We should learn to give the privilege and the opportunity for people to follow their dreams, to follow their visions, and be who they want to be in life. We complain that here we have been talking about people working and staying out, people traveling left and right. Maybe the fact that you travel, you don't make your marriage a healthy one. Oh, I want to say that there are people who are very available, but yet their marriages are nothing to write home about. But there are people who are away from home, but their home is in order. That's their wife, they feel the love. For a case where it's a man that is outside, the woman feels that I have a husband who calls constantly, who is responsible to giving food money, who takes care of the children, who calls and talks to the children, who shows the love. When he is home for 1 week, it's like he has been there for 6 months. But there are men who are around, likewise women, who are around 24/7, but they are a nuisance. And the wives are praying that they could go away. They could just go for them to be around. They're nuisance, and vice versa. The same thing. Yes. The same thing with some women. They are present. That is it. That is it. So it is not about the career being away, the career that takes you away, or the career that makes you to be around. It's about what you want for your family, how your mindset, who you are, and how you want to build your home. You want to make your home a desert, a place of tossing and fighting, whether you are there or not, it doesn't make a difference. So you can be you can be out of home and still make your marriage a very comfortable place. Correct. As much as you can be around and still spoil and make your home a place of a miserable place.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Cynthia, writing from Moliko. If you're married to a man who already have kids before you both got married, then the kids don't respect you. They will do something wrong and you try to correct them. They will talk back at you. You give report to your husband, your father, but he doesn't do anything. So what can you do in that situation? Very bad situation. Mr. Liu, I'm about getting married and I'm faced with the situation of working in a company in a different town from my future husband. He works in the government where he is. From the look of things, I only have to meet him 1 day in a week. I really need an advice on this. Please, thank you, sir. You need to talk with our guys, our counselors, because we are out of time already. In case, okay, oops, we are writing history here. Please, Mr. Liu, help me ask any of the gifted apostles that how can a man or a woman treat the problem of inferiority complex in a relationship? A counselor can help you people. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Kudos to you and your panel. The topic of interest tonight, it's really awesome, especially for those of us still planning to get married someday. But I have this question to ask. What if you are in love with a man who is working 2 to 7 and hardly at home to give you and your children the company that you deserve? Should you throw away the love you both share because of the career issue? Giselle is writing from Bomenda. Giselle, Who do you prefer? Someone who will stay 24 hours with you without a job, or what? He will stay there with you and the children. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and good evening to all the panelists. Apostle Ambe is making a lot of sense there, but we should also remember that everyone wants to create a family and have love. The essence of a successful career is most often to have a healthy family. The service we give to the society is secondary. It's a byproduct. Jesus did not get married, deducted his life to service to society, but was still crucified. Back Kelly is writing from Chang. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. The topic is very touching. I wish to have Apostle Ambe's number. Derek is writing from Bafusam. Good evening to you, Derek. Stop calling, please. Shh. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the panel. Please, I don't understand you people well. I think the question is not being answered. Only Apostle Alfred is trying to clarify the question. Which career is favorable? It hasn't been answered. No, it has been answered. You did not just understand. There is no specific career. It has been answered. When they say whether you're a pilot, you're a military man, or whatsoever, you could be away and still be irresponsible, and still be very responsible, and you could still be there. Whatever you are doing, you could still be with your wife for 24 hours a day and still be irresponsible. They answer the question though, except you did not pay attention to the explanations. Good evening, Mr. Liu, to everyone at the studio. Now for this special program, I wish to say something about what one of the speakers says. You mentioned that nursing is one of the jobs that can be a problem to a relationship. But I would say a good nurse will be a very good housewife as well. A nurse is a holistic human being who should give love and care everywhere. So I don't think nursing is one of those careers that make a woman not have time for the family. This is writing from Douala. Apostle, we are out of time. Thank you for coming, and certainly your last words to clarify some of those who did not understand our discussion this evening.
Talking about the subject of getting married, God created men, and within these men are different categories. There is a man called father. That father is somebody who has given birth to a child. It doesn't make him husband. There is another man called husband. That's why they say wives submit to this category of man called husband, because not every man is a husband. Women also are created. They are equally mothers within those women. There are girls within those women, and there are wives within those women. God says, husband, love your wife, not every woman. So you must understand that if some people are selected to be called husbands and wives, it doesn't mean that everybody was destined to get married. That's why I've said, don't marry a career, don't marry a profession, marry a wife. If you marry a wife who is a professional, she will satisfy you. If you marry a husband, not a man, a husband who is a professional, he will satisfy you. But if you marry a man that is a professional, who does not have the qualities of a husband, he will be headache to you. If you marry a woman that is a professional, very rich, and she's not a wife, she'll be trouble to you. There are billionaires women who are not wife materials. They will be headache to their husband. There are billionaire women who are wife materials. No matter how rich they are, that wife nature in them will always want them to serve a man. There are women that can never serve men. That's why you have this subject of feminism. If you see a man preaching feminism, she doesn't have the attributes of a wife, but she is a woman. We cannot deprive you from being a woman, but you are not qualified for being a wife. That is why the definition of a woman that can marry is called wife. The definition of a man that can marry is called husband, because those descriptions are responsibilities. There are women that is not in them. A woman is smoking cigarettes, she lives her life, and she said all her own is to find somebody who impregnate her and give children, and then she can live like that and die. There are many I've met like that. That is not a wife, she is a woman. There are also men, no matter how popular they are, they look for two women, impregnate them, give birth to children. The idea of getting married is not in their mind. I have a friend in South Africa, he has 2 children with the girl. And the girl keeps bringing police people to arrest him that he wants the man to marry. The man said, the thing called marriage is not in my system. I can take care of you, I can sponsor you, give birth to my children, but when it comes to this of marriage, I'm not there. So you see, that is a man, but not a husband. So when you want to marry tomorrow, whether the man is rich, professional, poor, look for a husband. And there are certain qualities a husband have, which I will not have time to explain today.
Okay. We also want to say thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Leo. I still want to talk to our people. Please, before you marry anyone, study their profession and see if you can manage that or not. But if you can manage it, go ahead, no matter the profession. But if you can't manage a particular profession, please don't go in for it, because you'll become a great problem. Have a nice day with you people.
Okay. Now, thank you too for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. I'll round up with this. In every profession where you find yourself, you can always make your home enjoyable and conducive for everyone, for your children, for your husband, or for your wife. Your profession should not be a limitation to the happiness in your home and to the growth of your family. So just choose to be that husband, choose to be that wife. Know exactly what your family needs, what your home needs, and work towards realizing it. Put in maximum effort and you'll have an enjoyable marriage. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Okay. We also want to thank you all who took your time off to watch this edition of Prime on My Media Prime. Thank you, Desmond, and to you, Eli, and to you, Tabby, Tambe Brian, supervising the work we do out there. Tomorrow is going to be another day, if God permits. We're going to be looking at this issue of toxicity in food. We know that there is a doctor that is training on social media who says puff puff and beans and pap actually is toxic to the body, and yes, and some people now are saying that he's adding that burning fish is also among, so people are afraid. They no longer know what to eat. So tomorrow, if God permits, we're going to be looking at some of those issues with our panelists in the house. But we know that most of us have grown eating puff puff and beans and also pap. So we want to say good night. Stay blessed. Bye bye.